Yet another thing. Oh, hey. I feel like we're on a different planet. Because if you guys are watching this, you guys are checking us out on the new platform. It's not so much new. This is YouTube Live. I love YouTube.
We
Uh,
know. We know.
It's been a while.
Your
It's been
binges
a
are
while.
epic.
if you guys have already subscribed to this channel, thank you very much. We're going to be putting a lot more stuff on the YouTube platform because, um, not everyone's doing Facebook and not everyone's doing Instagram and stuff. And YouTube has always been a tried and true favorite for us, especially for stuff like this. Okay, so here's the plan. Okay, first of all, oh hello, this is Dr. Dan Closer Chiro showing all of you how to get the yes.
With less stress, Dr. Jen Rosenhart. And
bringing up the rear, Dr. Sean.
That's where you go, man.
That's
That's
right,
where
baby.
you go.
I know my
that's your
place.
spot.
I know
You
my
do.
place.
That's right. All right. So, all right, we're going to bring it back old school. We're going to kick it old school. We're going to be talking about something to start off our YouTube broadcast careers here on a topic that made us famous. And that is the concept of should doctors sell? Should something called selling be something that healthcare providers do? And obviously, we represent the chiropractic profession. But if you happen to be watching this and you're a healthcare provider in other disciplines, this is right up your alley as well. And that's the age-old question, right, guys? Should healthcare be something that is sold? Okay, so we got to start right there. So before we get into that, though, Sean, can you give me the typical response that most people think about when they say you should sell something?
Well, in our profession, I can't think of a word that's probably more taboo than selling. And remembering going back when we first started teaching sales in the profession, the backlash that we got was if you didn't have thick skin, man, we would have folded faster than a lawn chair. But
Yep.
the reality is, I think it's becoming, well, I know it's becoming more accepted because of the way that we teach it. But yeah, I tell you what, man, the first response is like one of those you just like the fingernails on the chalkboard feeling when people mention sales, specifically with chiropractic, because we know we've got a great product. But unfortunately, all these years, Dan, we've thought that the product would just sell itself because it was so great. And I think our track record, our history in this profession proves that that's not the case.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. Jen, help me out with this one. What's the typical viewpoint on sales in general?
Oh my gosh. I mean, every time you say the word sales, people link the word sleazy with sales. They're like, oh, sleazy sales. I don't want to sell. Selling is, ugh. They just make faces, their body contorts. It's really entertaining to watch. And it's funny because, when you have those responses, that you've had a bad sales experience.
Oh, let's start.
And we all have.
Yeah, let's start there. So here's the problem is that all of the negative, sleazy perspective on sales that we encounter on a daily basis usually is the bad shit that happens to us over time. The time that MF sold us something that was not worth its weight, or it was a bad product, or it was something that we truly didn't want, need, or could afford. And someone browbeat us and tricked us and manipulated us and guilted us into buying something that we really didn't need, or it was very, very bad for us. That's the sales feel and look and feel for people who are not modernized. And I got to tell you something. If you guys all think that that's what sales is, hey, listen, we're not here to actually make you feel better about this. I'm just telling you, it's antiquated. It's old school.
Unfortunately, though, Dan and Jen, I would say that for every positive experience you've had in a sales process as a consumer, you've had 10, if not 15, if not 20 bad experiences. And unfortunately, that's what's built this reputation of sales being bad and sleazy and dirty. But you know what? I think that we have a way that we can teach people how to change their perception of that if they truly understand how to do it appropriately.
Well, that's the thing. So here's the first thing. This is the first thing that we need to get across is that salesmanship is actually a service. One of the greatest quotes that I think that I've heard from Jen Rosenhart was, closing and selling is something that you do. Help me out, Jen.
For your patients, for your clients, whoever you're selling to. For us as patients. Yeah, you do it for them. It's not a process that you put somebody through or that you do to them. You do it for them. You have to believe. I mean, in good salesmanship, you have got to believe what you do and what you sell is going to make a massively positive impact in that person's life. So, why wouldn't you sell it to the best of your ability and make that experience a wonderful one for the person across from you?
That's a great point.
Selling is something that you do for someone, not something you do to someone. So you'll never really hear us say, "Hey, I sold her or him." You know what I'm saying? Because we
No.
didn't sell him or her or them. We sold a product for him, her, them. Okay, and it might just seem like semantics to many of you, but that is a really incredibly important distinction. Here's the other thing, and you guys stop me whenever you want, is people think that selling is pushing the agenda of the salesperson
Mm.
onto your prospect or the person buying. You
I
know,
was just going to say, I'm
wow,
glad you brought that up.
man, dude, like if you
Let's
think that way, man, that is so old school. That is not what modern sales is, right?
No.
let's give an
No.
example of that,
Yeah.
Dan. Okay, so the example you gave, let's just say I am a soccer mom and I need a new vehicle to get my kids to and from the game. I need something with convenience, with good gas mileage that's going to be reliable. So I'm in the market for, let's say, a minivan, right? Perfect example. I head onto the lot. I need a minivan. That salesperson, though, they're going to make a much bigger commission and they're going to pad their pocket if they sell me into a sedan or sports car or something else. They're working off their agenda, which is to make more money for themselves. So they may try to deter me into something that they think I need or want or should have. Versus you have a patient that comes into your office. They have a specific need, want, and desire. They have something that they need met that they don't currently have met. A good salesperson will identify what exactly it is that that person, that patient needs in their life that they're missing, and you provide a solution to bridge that gap between their problem and you being the solution. Versus, like I said, the old sleazy way of trying to manipulate someone into something they don't want or need because of your own personal gain.
Oh,
Well, I mean, I can't tell you how often that has happened. Unfortunately, within our profession, is that I was always coached in, the early years of practice was like, you go in talking about what you do first. You go in with selling chiropractic to your people. They need to know the story. They need to know how important it is for their life. They need to know this. And it's totally freaking and flipping. It's
fleeking.
fleeking backwards, okay? It's
It
fleeking
is.
backwards. So we have to come from a place of what does that person need, their perspective, and then can we be the solution for that? And for the most of the time, but when people show up in our offices, yeah, they know what we help with, so we can. But it's not about pushing chiropractic first. We don't do that. That's
Right.
the wrong approach. That's
and
what feels
pushing
gross.
and pushing anything. Hey guys,
Yeah.
like we're not talking about sales. This is like relationships and communication
Bingo.
101. I mean,
Mhm.
if you want something like take kids for example, like if you want something good for them, like how are you gonna like browbeat them with your perspective over and over again and you're talking to like a 4-year-old? Is that ever gonna work? No. You communicate them from the perspective of where they are at, and your prospects, your patients, your clients, your customers, like they don't have the same level of understanding about what you do, right? And they should not be spoken to like they know what you do and how you do it. Okay, so all right, here's the next element that we got to talk about. So important is that how do we ensure, okay, that as I'm presenting what I do, how do we make sure that the other person, our patient, our client, our customer, um truly understands how great our shit is. All right. Like, how do you do that without talking about how great your shit is? Because one of the things that we like teaching, and this is so awesome, is that we want to teach you how to look like you're the effing best without ever saying that you're the effing best. We want your patients, your clients, your customers to say, "Hey, this guy and this lady knows exactly what they're doing, and I feel safe here, and I want exactly what they have," without you ever having to say, "Hey, I know what I'm doing. I can help you. I've done this a million times. Let's go." Like that's what most people think selling is. How can I let them know that I'm all these things? But how do we get them feeling that without us actually saying it? Is that a good question? I mean, I think that's a question that
It's
many
a
of you may
great
be thinking
Yeah,
about.
it's a great
It's
question.
fantastic. It's because, well, going back to what Jen said, having to force somebody your agenda on them We've always made this thing so chirocentric, right? Every new patient, the sales, well, wasn't called the sales process, but a new patient process was all about being chirocentric, putting chiropractic first. Where in the reality, sales is putting the patient first. It's a whole patient-centered model. You want to get someone on board with you, open your ears and listen to them and get into their perspective and meet them where they're at. And you're not diminishing the value of chiropractic, folks, by getting into your prospect's perspective. First and foremost, if you do that, if you go about it the right way, I'm telling you what, you're going to make your sales process and your conversion so much easier, so much more fun. But unfortunately, we've always done it backwards in this profession. We are just throwing chiropractic down their throat until they just vomit and they're out of your office.
We've gotten so much shit for talking about this. And if you just stayed with us for the last 5 minutes and really truly understand how we view sales, it should all make sense to you. Like, guys, do you remember back in the day? Like, did they really think that we were going to come out of the gates and openly and honestly teach other people how to trick someone into buying something they really don't want? I mean,
that's what they thought.
It's like,
Crazy.
it's
On the
crazy.
surface, that's what it looked.
Here's some other news for y'all that you haven't thought about it yet. Sales is taught at the highest level academic institutions in the world. All right. Wharton School of Business, Harvard Business School, Kellogg School of Business at Northwestern. I could just go on and on and on. This is something that people study, especially in the world of business, every single day. It is a thing. It's not esoteric. There's a process. And sales has so much depth. It also crosses the academic barrier between business and psychology. Okay, some programs in business around the world have called it, behavioral economics. You know what I'm saying? Even the study of statistics at a high level is all about the humanities version, the humanities perspective of how numbers and statistics and economics play a role in how people make decisions for themselves and their family when it comes to their money. Like, there's so much depth to this. And if you're listening to this, you haven't even scratched the surface of how sales works into, your business and your life, then that's what we're here for, Docs.
Dan, why don't you define what selling actually means? Because many people have that perception of what a sale is or what selling means to them. But when you put it out there clearly, what actually is happening when you sell something, what are you doing? You're bridging a gap, right? They have a problem. Patient walks into your practice. They have a problem. Your job as a salesperson, just happen to be selling chiropractic, is you have to provide a solution that you and the patient can work together, that they understand it's something that they want and need. And boom, guess what? They pay you, you give them what they need, and everybody wins. What is so wrong with that?
Everybody wins. Exactly.
Everybody wins.
The other thing that you said earlier, you asked, how do you let people know that you're the best without saying you're the best? And my take on this is that it is 100% having to do with the systems that you run and operate and how you deliver your service. It's very rarely about the product. It is about how you deliver it.
I'm going to stop you. I want to make sure you guys just heard that. It's what she's saying. It's not so much what you sell, right, Jen?
Yeah.
But
how you do that, the system in which you deliver your product or service.
Right on.
And I mean, I can't tell you. Just a funny from yesterday. A guy had been to a chiropractor. All I need is my neck cracked. I just want my neck cracked. I just want to come in and have you do my neck. Great. Haley will help you. Go ahead and make an appointment. And in my head, I'm thinking, oh, this will be fun because I always love those challenges, but I know what I do. I know how I do it. I know how I deliver chiropractic. Is that guy going to come in and lay on the table? No. He's going to go through the process because that's what I do. And so by the end of his day one, he's like, oh man, you guys are really good. I don't know if I can afford you, but I really want to be here. I don't know about my other chiropractor. And that's just from a consult. Like, that's just from doing what you're trained to do, doing what we would train you to do. And it's about how you are delivering. It is not about the service in any way. It's how you do it.
Did he come back, Jen?
Day 2 today, buddy.
Yeah.
Day 2 today.
And I love that. The fact that he hadn't even been there to see, but yet he was already saying, I don't know if I can afford it, because he saw how much value you were already producing in a freaking consultation.
Exactly.
He knew he was getting something special. And when I know how your day 2 is, I know exactly how it's going to roll out. This guy he's in great hands, and both of you are going to win.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
we can go all day about this, and if you haven't figured out, we are so passionate about this subject matter because we know that's for many of you is the linchpin to massive success, and being the person, the go-to person in your community, and blasting through the mediocre results that you've been suffering with for all this time. But we'll leave you with this: is that uh, when we're talking about sales and selling, um, it's allowing a way through the systems that we're talking about to for your patients to come to these conclusions on their own. You know, oh yes, doctor, I should do that. Not because you told them, but because you've positioned the way that you're talking to them very strategically and emotionally so that it poses a question and they decide, yes, I want it. Or they decide, watch this, no, they don't want it. We may not agree with all of their decisions, but a properly trained salesperson will always respect the
Yep.
patient's decision. And
Well said.
that's ultimately what sales is all about. All right. So listen, this is our first pass at YouTube. Felt like everything else, guys.
Yeah. Wow, this is really weird.
Weird. Whatever. If you guys leave a comment in whatever the comment, we'll get to know this platform a little better. Leave a comment. Let us know. And by the way, the YouTube's going to be a little different in the fact that we would like you, okay,
Yep.
to call the shots on content. All right. You want us to talk about specific problems we'd love to talk about it. Okay. You want us to talk about what thread count sheets we like? Yeah, fuck, we'll talk about that too. Whatever you want to talk about, we'll talk about it, and we'll be here on a regular basis. What's our normal time and date for this, Jen? I forget.
Yeah, every 2 weeks, right at this time.
Yep. So every 2 weeks, 2 o'clock Central, 12 o'clock Pacific until the times change. Then I don't know what.
Yeah, we don't know that.
Yeah, but we'll let you guys know on other channels when we're coming on live. We'd love to hang out with you, talk to you, interact with you. Okay. Till then, Dr. Dan here.
Dr. Sean,
And Dr. Jen,
Bye.
thanks,
see
guys.
ya.